What is going on YouTube? Kronos here and welcome back to another PSO2 video. Today, I'm just going to be going over the Waker skill tree, letting you guys know what I picked up, what I recommend, and what I'm not really too 100% sure on. I usually kind of go into a little bit of a spiel, but I'm going to try this new thing where we just jump into today's videos, and any of the extra stuff I'm going to leave at the end, so feel free to hang out until that point. Anyway, let's go and jump into this. So we've got the Waker skill tree. Just to go ahead and let you guys know from the very beginning, I'm not a Waker main, don't plan to be a Waker main. That's something I'm super interested in, but the skill tree is pretty self-explanatory. I had some people ask, what skill should I take? What's worth, what's not worth, so on and so forth. And realistically, the only choice you really have here is going to be these 4 skills across the top. Outside of that, realistically speaking, you can grab pretty much everything. Now, this isn't exactly accurate because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, one of these skills is a 5-point skill, not a 1-point skill. Actually, yeah, there it goes. It even shows it as a 5-point skill right here, but only costs us 1 point in this actual tree. That's a bit weird, but just keep that in mind whenever you're going through this process. You actually have 5 points spent here. Everything else is still 1 point. Yeah, this should all be 1 point. Yep, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. No big deal. It's like basically been 24 hours since Waker launched. So the guys that work on this more than likely just haven't updated this skill to actually, work with the full 5 points here. Either way, just keep in mind we are not at 15 points spent, we're at 19 points spent. So what do we have left realistically to look at? Well, we've got Retro Rescue or Retro Friends Rescue, Welfare Management, Rest Effect Continuance, and Lucky Sign. So one thing to note about a lot of skills when it comes to PSO2, a single point goes a long way. As you can see, Welfare Management, 1 point already drops us by 20% damage reduction as a main class, 10% as a subclass, and you can see per point, the activation doesn't change. Now, this only takes effect while you're at low HP, meaning that it's not going to be fantastic for its damage reduction, because low HP plus damage reduction, you may just end up getting, I won't say one shot, but you may end up not surviving the hit while you're 30%. And if it's any indicator of previous skills, usually a skill that's going to deal enough damage to kill you is just going to kill you over that stuff. However, it's worth mentioning there's a lot of new damage reduction, higher HP pulls, things of that sort, since the add-on skill is being added, so this has a little bit more value overall. But for me, I put a point in each of these. Lucky Sign, if I have a chance to not use a rest assign, that's super cool, but it's 1.10%, and then you've got like 3% for each other point, and then 2% at the very end. So point spent per value is not exactly high when you continue to go. So I just simply put a single point in. The Rest Effect Continuance is pretty cool. Essentially, it turns your rest assign into a regen. The way this ends up working out is the rest assign's effect ends up being about 115%. Now, the amount of time doesn't change. Its effect duration doesn't change. It's over 10 seconds. However, how much it heals does. So it shows the recovery rate. It shows the sustained amount of recovery that you get. This also does have reduced effects for subclasses, not by a ton. As you can see, it is only it's only 1.5%, which isn't that bad. But it basically makes your rest assign, in my opinion, a bit better. Because a lot of times you tend to either only need a little bit of HP at that point in time and then maybe need more later. But, a heal over 10 seconds is not bad. It's very rare that you end up needing, to be topped off immediately, that you're healing, last second. In those situations, usually you're just going to die. And then there's also Retro Friends Rescue. Retro Friends Rescue is a bit of a weird one. Yeah, Retro Friends Rescue, I had to double back and look at it again just to make sure I truly understand it, because it is a bit weird. It's kind of similar to a base game skill, Automate. Not exactly, but sort of. Essentially, if you're using it as a main class skill, you have a 75% chance whenever your HP reaches below 30%. Actually, let me make sure. HP recovery rate. Yeah, 30%. Okay. So whenever activation damage, 40%. Hang on. I believe it's a 30% heal at a 40%, below 40% HP. At a 70% chance, yeah. So yeah, the wording's a bit weird, but basically you have a 75% chance when your HP goes below 40%, heal back 30%. It does have a cooldown of 30 seconds. So realistically speaking, I don't think the skill's that great. I mean, looking back now, at the time, I did put 9 points into this. I personally probably would just go into Lucky Sign. While Lucky Sign isn't a lot really great for points per, like, actually value per point, at least it feels a bit more usable than things like Welfare Management and Rescue. These are, damage reductions under certain HP pools. I mean, Welfare Management's biggest thing, in my opinion, is the heal potency increase. Basically, like, your heal is stronger whenever you're low HP by 125%, but that's consistent. You don't really need the 5 points for this. And keep in mind, of course, like I said, 4 points we still have to have here. So realistically, we don't have 36 points, we have 40 points used. So if I were to go back and redo my tree personally, I'd probably go with something like this, where I've got more into Lucky Sign, more into Rest to affect continuance. We've got the 1 point in Welfare Management for the 125%. And then outside of that, Rescue Friends is just like to have points into something. I probably wouldn't bother with the points here. I mean, even here, like, I don't know, man. It's a situation where having 1 point in and maybe 4 points here might be better. But I feel like, I mean, yeah, because the damage reduction at low HP, it might save you at 40%. But when you're that low HP, the chances of it saving you is even slimmer. So it's one of those situations where you kind of pick your poison between the two of them. I would say test them out between the two of you. I didn't really get a chance to test this out against boss fights that consistently, but in most cases I find whenever you're that low on HP, almost any attack is going to kill you. So, I mean, it's a toss-up. I think optimally I probably would go with something like this 100%, but that's because I'm really not valuing Retro Friends Rescue very highly. Maybe there's some sort of niche setup with Retro Friends Rescue where it ends up working out much better, but this is probably what I would go with moving forward. Anyway, guys, I just want to go over the tree. Let me know what you think. If you guys have any questions, feel free to toss in the comments below. I guess people are going to ask what benefit does it have as a subclass. I don't think it really has one. I'm going to talk more about it in my thoughts video about Waker overall, but the short answer is mostly just going to be a main class. The only time I'd use it as a subclass is if I really just don't want to use my main class weapon and I'd rather use the pets, or I'd rather use the harmonizer with all of its PAs. That's pretty much it. Anyway, guys, like if you enjoyed, subscribe to keep up with more. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out.